Hello and welcome to the He Doesn't Want a podcast. This week's episode is a special based on the Steel and Sons Cup semi-finals coming up this week. And as always, we want to thank our sponsors, Jumbo Park Racecourse and Learners Ross Driving School. First up, I've got John Douglas, who is assistant manager, first team coach at Bangor. Dougie, how are you, mate? You keeping well?
I'm good, Gary. Good. Thanks very much for the invite.
Not a problem at all. I'm glad to get this on, and like obviously with semi-final coming up tomorrow night, I'm sure you're busy. It's all systems go.
All systems go. It's a reward for the players, if anything. You know, obviously they've been super this season for us, and they deserve nothing less to get a crack at the Steel and Sons Cup semi-final. Yeah,
and then your form in general this season has been, I'm right in saying you're unbeaten in all competitions so far. So I take it you obviously go into the game with a lot of confidence, but now it's a semi-final, slightly different because now you have that opportunity to go one further into the final. Do you think it'll affect the players any differently, or it's just same as normal?
We try and sort of approach every game in the same manner. You know, it's Lee and myself are great believers in taking one game at a time and not looking too far into the future. You know, and even after a win, you know, obviously everyone likes to enjoy the night after a win, but straight away we're trying to get the players' mindset on the next game and the next opponent. You know, so that's the approach we've had, and then from the start, and it seems to be paying dividends. So it's the players are, you know. Obviously, you can't hide the fact that it's a prestigious tournament like the Steel and Sons Cup, yeah. And at our level, you know, it's a massive tournament, and it was one of our priorities at the start of the season. You know, that we really wanted to do well in it, and now we find ourselves in the semi-final, and we're under no illusion how difficult it's going to be tomorrow night. You know.
Yeah, with the semi-final as well, it's now got the stage of Linfield Swifts, who are one of the top teams in the Steel and Sons over the last lot of years, and then you also have two other teams who are in the same division as yourselves, so it's a very strong semi-final lineup. And then of course Newington over the last couple of years have always been quite strong in this competition. Do you think that their previous experience may help them, or have you a lot of boys there who would have experience in this type of competition and maybe it'll see us through?
Listen, Newington, I actually just Googled it earlier, and I think Newington were the last finalists against Linfield Swifts in 2019.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, Newington are a super club, you know, from even back in my playing days. They were always, you know, competing for major honours, whether it was sort of at that stage amateur league, and then they went into sort of I think they went through the Ballymena League and sort of found themselves now in PIL, and they've had a great season, you know, looking at the results in their past, and we expect nothing less from a Newington side, who obviously are steeped in tradition and history. You know, that we know that it's going to be a really, really difficult game tomorrow night. Whether their previous experience in the competition, you know, only time will tell, I feel. You know, I mean, we have players there that are experienced players, and we have a good mix of you know, players that are developing and players that have experience to help the younger players develop, and you know, but you know, it's key to us and on our progression as a club that, you know, we come into games like this and we don't let the sort of overarching level of the game affect our performance level, you know. So it's about keeping humble, staying humble, and going out and approaching this like every other game. And knowing the players that we have, anytime we've sort of come up against difficult sort of games, and I'm talking about Irish Cup, and in the past, you know, we've turned up and we've give a good account of ourselves.
Yeah, so far in the Steel and Sons alone, it's say by now you're the top goal scorers in the competition. You've had a couple of comprehensive victories against Newcastle and St Luke's, and then even in the last round against Crewe. But one tight game against East Belfast, of course, which went to penalties. How do you think so far that the opponents you've faced, how do you think that stands you for the semi-final coming in tomorrow night?
I don't think anything that's happened in the past will have any sort of impact tomorrow night. You know, it's It's going to be a really difficult game. It's two sets of players who'll be doing everything they possibly can to get to a prestigious cup final on Christmas morning, you know, and looking at player anyone to speak to about it, you know, it's all anybody who has been involved in the final have all been, you know, basically praising it and sort of saying that in their own career that they haven't been involved in anything as sort of to that level, you know, where other than the Steel and Sons Cup, you know, and personally, you know, obviously not looking too far ahead, but if we were to get to the final, you know, it would be possibly myself and Lee's biggest sort of achievement so far in our management, our management careers, you know.
I've seen as well, I read, and Gareth Fullerton done a piece up with Lee on Belfast Live. He said that he lost the final himself 27 years ago for a Linfield Swifts team. So it's obviously then he wants to get that winner's medal this time round.
Am I correct in saying that was against Bangor? I think.
Yes, Bangor Reserves. Yes,
Bangor Reserves. That's right. Bangor Reserves beat them. He actually mentioned it there last week in the car, you know, and obviously, but again, you know, at the start of the season, I think all teams are in the same boat. They all looked at the Steel and Sons and went, you know, I'd love a run on that Steel and Sons Cup. And you need a bit of luck along the way, you know, when we've had difficult ties in terms of East Belfast, who are a very, very good side. Was sort of probably our best performance to date so far has probably been the crew match, and then taking into account the how we've performed from the start of the season, but all in team performance, I feel the crew match were very, very good against a very good crew side, you know, but I don't think anything we've done in the past will have any sort of impact on tomorrow night's result. I think it's about the boys doing what they've done and sort of keeping their feet on the ground, and, you know, we pride ourselves on our work ethic and sort of, you know, doing the basics right. And we know the quality that's throughout our squad. You know, we trust every player's buying into what we're trying to do. And there's no doubt in my mind that we, you know, apply ourselves correctly, which we have done from Lee and I have come into the club, that we'll go out and give a good account of ourselves.
Yeah, and then after even the semi-final tomorrow night, we're straight into Irish Cup and Intermediate Cup over the next couple of games, and I suppose it never stops really. Like, it's just constant, and you're having to switch priorities from one competition to another, and then of course you have the league to concentrate on, and promotion must be a big game now after being unbeaten in the league as well.
Again, I wouldn't have it any other way, you know. We're loving it. We're loving it from day one. We've come into the club and we've sort of, you know, tried to basically put our stamp on the team and put our stamp on the club as a whole. And Lee's a great believer in, from the club chaplain right through to the management chairman, that everybody's in it together and everybody has their played a part, you know, or their part to play, may I say. But, you know, everybody's excited, everybody's sort of pulling in the same direction. And I don't think you can be successful any other way, you know, and something we'll continue to do. And obviously one game at a time. With Newington tomorrow night, we'll get that over, and whether, you know, victorious or we'll lose, then we'll take in, we'll sort of then prepare for the next match. So we don't want to look too far in front. I'm not even thinking about Saturday. Lee won't let us think about Saturday. You know, there's not a word in the dressing room. We're not allowed to look at league tables. We're, you know, it's one game at a time, and that's our approach. And to be fair, up to now, it's done as good, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Up to now, it's done as good. And then there's the possibility then, if you're to win tomorrow night, that you could be looking forward to a Christmas Day final, which, like we said earlier, is really prestigious. And Christmas is a family day, so there's an opportunity to get everybody involved, and it's be something for the supporters to look forward to, especially with Bangor the last couple of years being up and down. And, you know, I probably give a lot of hope to supporters that there's going to be success in the near future.
The supporters have been super, you know. They've sort of, they're starting to, I think they're coming out of the community now. We're doing a lot of community work, and a lot of the supporters from the community are now starting to get behind the club. And it's important to us, really, really important to us, you know, that we get as much community support behind the club as possible. And there's nothing better than to put something back to the community than a Christmas Day final at Seaview. But that again is a prestigious tournament. It would be really good, so it would provide something really good for the community and the supporters to look forward to, and the club as a whole. But again, I don't want to look too far in front, and we have a massive match tomorrow night, which we're going to go and we're going to enjoy. We're going to look forward. We're looking forward to it at the minute, and I'm sure Newington are exactly the same, and we'll give our best, and if we can provide the performances that's got us here and get a victory, then we'll turn our attention into the following Saturday. I don't think we'll get the chance to look at the final until maybe the week before it. The way fixtures are coming thick and fast at the minute, knowing Lee, so. But, I think all clubs are the same. I think Newington will have the same approach. Lisburn Distillery will have the same approach. Linfield Swifts will have the same approach. And, even looking at the other semi-final of Lisburn Distillery and Linfield, what else could you hope for in getting two clubs with the history and sort of that them two clubs have provided over the years, and looking forward to that on Christmas Day would be amazing.
Yeah, mate, thanks very much for giving up your time. I know, like I said, you're a busy man, and I really appreciate it, and I really wish you best of luck tomorrow night. I hope all goes well for you.
I really appreciate that, Gary, and anytime at all, I just want to Lee sends his apologies that he couldn't eat a sunbed book, mate, for 8:30, so he couldn't make it. So he's a pedicure and a sunbed sort of.
He has to look good for the cameras tomorrow night.
He's to look good for the cameras, so he has. But no, I really appreciate getting us on, and hopefully that it's not the last time. Hopefully, you're doing something for the final, and I'm involved, and we're involved in it, so fingers crossed.
Brilliant, mate. Thanks very much once again. Cheers.
Anytime, Gary. Thank you very much.
I'm here with Newington manager Paul Hamilton, who has a semi-final game against Bangor this Tuesday night. Paul, how are you keeping, mate? You all good?
Not too bad, mate, Guy. All good, mate. What about yourself?
I'm not bad, mate. I'm trying to get back in this podcast hobby that I've had on the go. I haven't done it in a wee while, so I thought I'd focus on the semi-finals. Obviously, Steel & Sons is a big competition, really prestigious. As a club, it'll obviously be a big game for you this season in general. It would have been at the start of the season, but now that you're at the semi-final stage, how are you feeling about the game?
Well, as I say, it's prestigious cupper, and it's one that we like focusing on. All good at the minute. We're sort of, to be honest with you, we can't wait for Tuesday night. You know what I mean? To get the semi-final sorted. So, but as I say, on our side there, like as I say, we're ready to go. But nice to get the final again. We've had a couple of finals there over the last few years, so it'd be nice to get there again. But as I say, we have a big challenge ahead of us here on Tuesday night.
Yeah, Bangor themselves, you're obviously in the same league. They're unbeaten in the league at the moment, but both teams have only played 5 games. You have won 3 out of your 5, drawn another. You still haven't met each other in the league, but do you know much about them, or?
Well, as I say, they're a decent team. We sort of, we've been down having looks and different things like that there. But as I say, at the minute they're flying. They're doing really well in the league, and obviously in the cup runs. But as I say, we just focus on ourselves, Gary. To be honest, about other teams, well, maybe know a wee bit of information, but it's all about us and how we play and how we conduct ourselves. That sort of thing.
Yeah, and your team yourself, you're saying there you've had a couple of finals over the last couple of years. So you were winners in 2017-18, 1-0 against Linfield Swifts. The same team beat us in 2019-20, 3-1. Is there many players who would have played in those finals still around the club and know how important the competition is and what it's like to get to a final and basically win that semi-final? Is there boys who have been there, done that, still with us?
Yes, we have still a couple in our ranks that have tasted that, tasted the victory and the defeats, of the finals. But with a wave of youth there too that's come in who have the hunger to maybe taste that sort of thing. But as I say, we're just we have a good mixture of experience and youth. But as I say, the experienced ones will hopefully, pull us through, pull us through the semi-final. But you know, you have to rely on the whole 11, or maybe you know, the whole 16 or 17 of a squad that we have. But no, there is a few there that feel the same way of maybe getting back to a final on Christmas morning, because it's a special day, like, so it is.
Yeah, quite often when it comes to semi-finals as well, it's just the team that which knows how to win rather than the team that maybe plays the best on the night. Are you more worried about your performance in the game in general, or are you just focusing on the outcome of the game?
No, Gary, we sort of when we step over that line, you know, no matter how we get through the next round, we do it, you know, and that's you know, you could win really handsomely, or you can win ugly, or anything like that there. But you know, our aim is when we walk off that field tonight, we want to be in the final, no matter how it's done. You know, how it's done. But as I say, that's our mentality. So it is. That's our mentality. You know, you could go out and play really well and get beat. You know, or you could go out and play really well and you know, you could win really well. But it doesn't matter to us. We just won into the next round.
Do you think it's you've last couple of years, regardless of league form, you've almost been a notorious cup team? You've always done well in the cups, and even if you've had some adverse league results, you can pick up wins when not expected in the cups. Do you think that helps your boys gain confidence, knowing that when it comes to your cups, you're almost a different animal?
Yeah. Well, as I say, you know, the boys know where, you know, that a cup match is either you win it, you lose it.
Yeah.
If you win it, you're in the hat the next round. If you lose it, you're out. Simple. So as I say, we're sort of in that mentality of, you know, we don't lose.
Yeah.
You know, we do not lose. You know, and that's all around the team, management staff, coaches, staff, and all. You know, that's our mentality of, you know, we win cup matches because you could be out. It's as simple as you'll not get a second bite at it.
Yeah, and even this so far in the season, the first 4 games in the Steel and Sons just had all amateur league clubs, but probably the most important game for a number of reasons was when you beat Star in extra time. You have been there and done that in extra time this season as well. Do you think that stands us in good stead? And then obviously that game itself for North Belfast Derby, it holds a lot of importance also.
Yeah, you know, as I say, you know, it's been a bit of a roller coaster, the Steel and Sons Cup. You know, the teams that we've played, you know, a bit of a mixture, and then drawn Crumlin Star, you know, North Belfast Derby. You know, your bragging rights there too, Gary. You know, a lot of players know each other. You know, and you put that aside on game day. But as I say, we managed just to squeeze past them. You know, it wasn't much in that game, and as I say, 1-0 was going to win no matter what. But as I say, that's what we do, Gary. You know, we'll grind it. See if it's a grinding match, we'll grind it. And as I say, that it's all about getting into the next round.
Yeah, the performance in the last round against Belfast Celtic, I take it that was more, your all-round performance was much better rather than a grind, just probably the dominant team winning 4-1,
Yeah, I thought we were fantastic at that. I thought as soon as we got up to Belfast Celtic's pitch, you know, the feeling was brilliant. And fair play to the boys, you know, they put on hell of a performance. You know, Belfast Celtic are a decent team, real decent team, good team, you know, and as I say, a lot of our players know their players too. So as I say, you could go into, you know, like a wee bit of a derby or again, but you know, our boys, I thought our boys were immense that day, you know, from start to finish. You know, took our chances really well, hungry, you know, for the goals that day. And you know, if we do that against Bangor, I'll be more than delighted, you know, I'll be more than that. But as I say, to maybe get that sort of match again, you know, I would take it against Bangor, let's put it like that. But as I say, Bangor are a different animal compared to Belfast Celtic. You know, so as I say, I respect that in a lot of ways, but as I say, we'll be ready.
And then I'm sure you're calling on the loyal Newington supporters. Have had a lot of success and a lot of big games over the last lot of years, Irish Cup runs as well. So, and you've always got a good turnout. I take it as you're hoping you get a good turnout this Tuesday night, maybe get a lot of support from the stands.
Of course, Gary, you know, the drum's been beaten. You know what I mean? The drum's been beaten. You know, a lot of work goes unnoticed behind the background of sponsorships and people putting posters up and you know shouting out the semi-final to different people. But the place is buzzing too, Gary. You know, North Belfast is buzzing because people talking about it. You know, you're going to shop and you know, and people go, "I semi-final on Tuesday night," and are you going? Yeah, but down. And so, as I say, you know, it's good for the community. It's good for the community, and as I say, you know, in and around the north, it's a talk of the place at the minute. So it is, and as I say, a lot of people's been doing a lot of good things. As I say, putting posters up in shops and doing a wee bit of advertising and putting maybe a couple of wee flags up and different things like that there of the Newington colours, you know. So fair play to them, you know what I mean? Brilliant. Fair play to them. But as I say, we're hoping to. You know, we're hoping to get good support here on Tuesday night. There's no doubt about it. You know, we'll have a good support down, and you know, hopefully they cheer us on to get into the next round.
Brilliant. Well, Paul, thanks very much for your time. Really appreciate you giving up your time. I know it's a busy couple of days leading up to the game. And I wish you best of luck on Tuesday night. And who knows, we could be talking again before the final.
Gary, no problem. Here, thanks for giving me the opportunity anyway, mate. Okay.
Best of luck. Thanks very much.
Thanks. All the best. Bye.
I'm here with David Dorian, who is the manager of Linfield Swifts. Davy, thanks very much for coming on, mate. Really appreciate it.
Absolutely welcome. Absolutely welcome. No problem at
all. I know you're obviously busy with semi-final coming up Wednesday night. You play Lisburn Distillery. Are you looking forward to it? Yeah.
I really am. Stevenson's Cup has been kind to me.
Yeah.
We have been in the last, we've been into the last 3 semi-finals, shall we say.
Yeah.
It's funny, like Newington's in the other semi-final as well, who would play in the last 2 finals.
Yeah.
So, you know, there's maybe, you never know, it could end up being the same again, although I think the Distillery and Bangor might have different ideas than that. So, but yeah, we've got a bit of pedigree in the competition.
In terms of fitness and injuries or anything, any worries for Wednesday night?
No,
strength?
No, it's a wee bit difficult. So it is, to be honest. Everybody asked me about this. So the rules of the competition dictate that anybody who's played in the Irish Cup final can't play in the Steel and Sons.
Right.
So last year, even we won the Irish Cup final against Lauren. So anybody who played in that can't play in this competition. Yeah. So it rules an awful lot of senior players out. But it really it's only if you actually played in the game. So if you're on the bench and not played, you're okay to play in the Steel and Sons. So we've got a strange rule, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, I was up watching Distillery on Saturday up at the Dub against PSNI, and a couple of Distillery, the bowhands were saying to me, you make sure you put out your reserves now, not your first team. But that's not the way it is. It really isn't. Like, you know, obviously I can't do that. But you know, our manager David Healy trusts our young players 100%.
Yeah.
And you know, we've done all this before, and it's a bit strange because being in charge of a reserve team, the league matches are mostly development games.
Yes.
But whenever you come to play in a cup match, you're now teaching them that they've got to win games, and it's not so much about performance. It's more about a result. And that's basically what, you know, your Distilleries and Newingtons and Bangors, they're result-based business, where I'm in the development role. So it's a bit hard, and so it is, you know. But we've done our homework, so we have, and you know, and all the players are all fitting well.
So you have a good blend then of experienced players and boys who are probably only experiencing this stage of the Steel and Sons competition for the first time to take it as well.
We're very, very young, Gary. We have been the whole way through the competition. You know, it makes it difficult because if you came and you seen us playing in our league matches on a Monday night, you know, with 15 and 16-year-olds playing in an under 20 league, but that's the way David wants it to be. We every year we lose players, you know, and we lose players that run across the water. And so every year you're starting again, you look down to see who you've got an under 16 or under 18 that is capable of playing under 20s. And lucky enough, you know, we have an abundance of talented young players. It's if you look at the Northern Ireland younger age groups,
Yeah.
you know, it's full of ex-Linfield players. I can name you loads, like, and you go, right, and but that's just the way it is. You know, every year, last year, I had 2 young centre backs, and I knew we were going to do very well. So
Yeah.
Josh Rooney was with me. At 15, he signed for Stoke. Rory McConville had broken and played for the Swifts a few times, and he signed for Brighton. So you think you've got 2, and you lose them. So now I've got another 2 in. So I've got 2 young centre backs at the minute, and they're both of them are fantastic. You know, and that's just the way it is. I have to keep looking the odd people that are the right quality, because we've had people come in and not realising have not realised how hard it is and how difficult it is. Linfield's a very, very difficult place for anybody to come and, you know, be comfortable and believe in themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they're all under scrutiny every game you play. Every time we play anybody, it's Linfield they're playing. Like, you know, if we're 10% below par and they're 10% up, it makes it hard for everybody that comes and plays in Linfield. You know, I know I'm in a lucky place, and I've got a prestigious job, and, you know, lots of people, you know, probably look and think it's easy, but it's not. It really isn't. Like, you know, it's a difficult job. But I must say that the support I get from our first team, David, Healy, Ross Oliver, it's second to none. You know, I'm privileged, to say.
Even just the Linfield Swift's previous history in the competitions now, 11-10 winners, and obviously the Glens have 13. So there's an aim there as well, but with your biggest rivals. But with the prestige of the club, even in the history as well, you've got a lot to live up to every time you step out on the pitch in a Steel and Sons game, I suppose.
It's always, Gary, honest to goodness, see if there's an under-18 match on Saturday morning or a Swiss match on Monday night, the amount of people, scouts, and everybody wants to know who the players are, you know, where they were, what school they go to, you know, and what their history is. So we get scrutinised from top to bottom every game. So, you know, it's all part of the learning process. Whenever the young players get the opportunity to go and train with the first team, the intensity of what our first team does, it's like frightening, honest to goodness. Like, they drive themselves, you know, and Jamie Mulgrew, you know, is the captain and he's the driver of the team, you know, first team as well. So whenever one of the young boys goes into the first team, the standards that Jamie demands of the young players, you know, it lets him see what the difference is, you know, and I don't know where it's like at other clubs, but I know the standards and then are like through the roof. You know, so.
And it's great that you have the likes of Jamie, who's been there, done that, won countless trophies, and players can then go and look up to him and then see, well, that's what it takes to be a winner more than anything.
My first time around at Linfield, whenever this is my second spell at Linfield. My first time around at Linfield, David Jackery was a manager, and I'd been out of work for a wee bit football wise. Davy Chisholm had asked me to come and take an under 16 team, and even though I had been around senior football and I've been a coach at various places, I just fancied a change. And the under 16 team at the time, me and Jamie Mulgrew actually took it together. So you know, I know what he's about and the standards he set. So it's no surprise that he's turned out to be, you know, the player, and I'm sure one day he'll be a manager, no doubt about that. Just by the way he set standards and, you know, his personality. You know, he's an absolute legend, like, and, you know, he is a standard.
Yeah, big time. And in terms of your recent history, of course, you have had, we said earlier about you've had 2 games against Newington. One was a successful Steel and Sons final. One was a loss. Is there any players from that period who would still be there and know what this stage of competition's about then, or is it all changed?
From the first final, I don't think there's anybody at all from the first final. The second one, Adam Carroll's still here, and Ross Larkin. Adam Carroll was on the bench in the second final, and Ross Larkin would be centre back, is still around about it as well. So they're both full time in the first team now as well. But the younger players, the new younger players who have come through the academy and through the 16s, 18s to get to the 20s. I mean, they're exceptional. I'm not going to tell you any lies. But actually, the last final we played against Newington, Dale Taylor, who's played for Northern Ireland,
Yes.
so he played in the final for me. Dale Taylor and Charlie Long would have been both in the played in the final. Charlie signed for Leeds, Beals at Nottingham Forest, and the captain on the day was Trey Hume, who's now in our first team squad. And he what a player that young boy is. I'm obviously amazed he hasn't got a chance to go across the water yet. But so that's the way it is. It's just continuing turnaround. You know, we obviously the players get a chance to be around our first team. They will get a chance. People will come to watch them playing, and if they're good enough, they'll go across the water. But they, you know, there's a level there that they have to be to play on our first team as well. So we're my job. We get people across.
It's almost
the water.
twofold, yeah.
Exactly. You know, so that is what the job is all about. You know, at the end of the day, I mean, probably if you asked 90% of football people in football, they couldn't tell you who's top of the reserve league. They couldn't tell you who won the reserve league last year. I think that's a bit of a shame, actually. You know, that it doesn't get
enough
the
exposure,
that other things too. You know, that whenever the lockdown was on and we weren't allowed to play any football, and it was lucky for me. Like David brought me up to the first team last season, so it was in around the first team all last season. But you know, it's a bit of a shame. You know, what is elite football? You know, and you know, the ladies' football was on, and the other 20s wasn't. You know, I find it hard that we've got.
You missed a whole year of football, and it's not just football; it's development for that age as well.
Yeah, so. You know, so it should be. You know, hopefully, I'm hoping at some point that Linfield does go down the road of having a full time academy, and then all the players will be involved in it, because the club and the quality of the players says yes, that's the way it should go.
Yeah,
definitely.
Do you think in coming into this stage of competition, your previous experience and then those players that have played previously at this stage of a competition, where there's development games you've played this season, but for some young players, this will be a completely different experience for them? Do you
definitely
think that experience that you have is going to be massive?
Well, see, you think about it, the first round of Stevenson's happens early August. So we haven't played any league matches, and we were in their first Stevenson's match. So purposely pre-season, we played Albert Foundry, we played Shankill United, teams that I knew were going to be the type that we might face in the Stevenson's. I definitely think that helped us. We had a couple of hard games in the Stevenson's. You know, first Bangor was a really tough match. They were very physical with us, and just what I expected. You know, I'd seen them playing, and you know, I'm originally from Bangor, so I know TJ and his brother, and so I knew exactly what I was going to get. We played Mossley pre-season, and that was the same. You know, I knew they were going to be in our faces, and it was a wee bit of a shock to some of the young kids' system, but it worked. So it has helped me definitely.
Yeah,
you know?
And then you've almost grown through the competition. Looking at the results, winning in penalties against First Bangor, and then of course the last round going the extra time against the Glens. You've almost grown and probably aged as a group throughout the competition as well. Take it.
Yeah, look, Glentoran, you know, it's really, really strange. So the day we play Glentoran in the quarterfinals, our first team had no game.
Right.
And Glentoran's first team had a game. So I had no senior players in my team that day. And Glentoran had Keelan Warren, Joe Crow, Jordan Jenkins, Aaron Waitman. So there's three at least that are always in the first team.
Yeah.
And you know, for my own team to do what they did, it was really, really superb. Like, we were really good that day, really good.
Yeah.
Always thought we were better than them. So, you know, so you're right, we have grown, you know, and as the matches have got tougher, it's nice to play matches at home, of course, with them lucky that way.
Yeah.
But as the competitions went on, the players have started to believe in them. We don't put them under any pressure. The whole thing about being a development coach is you can't say this. The young boy get down and pass the ball, and then if he does it and loses it, you can't be hard on him.
Yeah, true.
You know, we coach the development to play, and that's the way it always is, no matter what. The results in our league aren't the be all and the end all. but the
Yeah.
Steam Sons leads up a lot to our club, as is Youth Cup as well. So, you know,
Yeah.
so we're going about the right way.
You can almost see that was really your league position in terms of you've won 5 out of your 10 games in the league, drawn 1. Whereas you might think that the Imperial League form might not transfer over into the cups, but obviously, like you said, it's getting that balance, and that's obviously really hard as well. That get that balance right.
Well, so the league can be difficult at times. So last, we see not Monday there, but the Monday before, when we went down at Dungannon, and you know, I've got a 15-year-old doing nets. I've got a 15-year-old centre back, 16-year-old centre back, a 15-year-old in centre midfield, who's exceptional, by the way. You know, one Cormac Austin. My goodness, like so he's 15 and he's been to Man United, he's been to Liverpool, he's been to Leeds, been to Rangers, he's been to Celtic, and the wee lad is like such a player, and he's going to have his pick of where he wants to go. So he's playing centre midfield, but Dungannon have got 18-year-olds, and it's a physical thing. So we're winning the match 2-1, and they scored off 4 corners, you know, because you've got a young kid in nets. And Dungannon's a big physical team, and see one of the corners, they're actually even taking a game and they scored a game of it. So you know, I understand that's when it's hard to see the results where somebody looks and says, "Oh, 4-2." As I said, Distillery's 2 coaches gained the matches playing, and I think I've thought to myself, "Oh, what a waste of time," because the players they'll watch, none of them will be playing on Wednesday.
Yeah,
none of them will be playing on Wednesday.
Because
that was a development game, you know. So if I'm going to win a match, you know, I can pick a stronger team, you know, and that's the way we are.
You personally as well, you must be one of the busiest men in football. You have to obviously keep your ear to the ground the whole way through that you've set up, and then be involved with the first team. And then we're all busy in football, but you're obviously, you must be a lot busier than all of us.
Here, do you want to talk about Tracy here? So so we all are busy. Would they, you know, I've been in football all my life, and it's a big part of my life. The Linfield, I look after like the senior development group, so that's under 16, under 18, and under 20. So I've got Michael Galt and Chris Kingsbury as the 2 coaches, you know, with the 16s and 18s. Then my own son Glenn, who you know, and Ian Crothers and Stuart Boyd and Mark Alexander all helped me, and the goalkeeping coach Andy Bell all helped me. But we all train together as a group. So there's the group that I take could be an under 16 player, an under 18 player, and an under 20 player. They're all the same age. There's nobody in our groups over 18. Not one player. So you know, it's just having the best ones in one group, and then the ones who are developing in the next group. So that they're not as good players, not like that. It's just we've got new ones coming in, so you bring them into the first group, and if they do well, then you bring them into the top group. That's the way idea. This is all David's idea, you know. And the league matches are difficult because we're going to play. We went to Coleraine, we played Coleraine, and honestly, I think my oldest player in the night away to Coleraine, Monday night away to Coleraine, was 17, and Coleraine had 5 first-team players playing, and there were proper first-team players. Parkhill, Aaron Jarvis, and they like destroyed us and beat us 5-0. And what do you do? Like, I just have to hold my on up. And to be fair, like, we finished the game with 10 players, and Coleraine kept their 5 first-team players on for the 90, even though they're running 5-0.
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff you're doing, then you're only going to really see it come to fruition in the next couple of years. How it affects the first team and how many players are there because of the experience they've got. How many players are then going to feed into the first team, and like you say, go across the water. And it is a wee bit different when it comes to a lot. Obviously, reserve teams are about development, but some teams are still always focusing on winning. And maybe it's the fact that you've changed that up. You're going to see a completely different Linfield team in the next couple of years as well.
Yeah. Well, that's, you know, a whole lot of the teams that we play against will be more results driven than what we are, and that's why we're the age we are, you know, because that's the way David Healy wants it to be. We would lose games, and I get annoyed because I'll get annoyed because of how we played rather than the result. You know, I can't have, you know, us not putting. You can be the other team can be better than you and be bigger than you and more physical than you, but you can't legislate for being sloppy and not putting the yards in and not doing the hard work. So that's what I demand, and 90% of the time I do get it.
So in terms of the semi-final, then, is it more performance you're looking for from the players, or is it that sometimes it can be the team that doesn't perform the best that can win these big games? Are you looking for them just to get through and win or perform?
I want us to play. I want us to put a performance in, like 100%. It's a reflection of me.
Yeah.
So if we're going to be a team that kicks the ball from one end to the other, that's not going to be me. I've never been like that, and I never will be. And I want, if you come and watch us playing, I think you'd see that we'll play. We do play, and sometimes it gets us into trouble. I understand that. But I've got my principles, and that's the way I've always been. I think if somebody came and said, that, it looks like a David Dorian team, I'd be happy with that, because I want my team to play, and we will try and do that. I do realise we'll win. If we win lucky, I'll take that. But more than anything in my heart, I want us to put a performance in and win. That's important for me. I want everybody that comes to watch to look and see what I do and what the players do, and why we're as fit as we are, and why we're as sharp as we are, and why we're confident. So that's what I want. I do want to win the match, but I want to play as well.
In terms of then the opportunity to get to a final, obviously Christmas Day is a family day, but then sure, you could be spending it with your son anyway, so you can if you get the final.
Yeah.
And it's a whole family event to take it, get the Steel and Sons, if that's the charity that you have to aim for.
Yeah. Well, the first year was obviously when we lost in Newington. I actually thought we had played better than Newington in the first one and lost 1-0. But I think they were a wee bit more streetwise on us, to be honest with you. The second time around, then I just thought we had better players and maybe a wee bit more experience from the first time round.
Yeah.
And we I thought thoroughly deserved the second time round. Although whenever I spoke to Connor Crossan, he thought they played better in the second final than they did the first. So it just shows you the way people see things. After winning the cup final the last time, I was able to bring my dad died last year of COVID. When he's in a care home in his 80s, but I was able to bring the cup and all down to him. So that was a nice thing to be able to do. So my whole family's all football, and so Christmas Day football final, it's nice, but maybe not for all the family.
Yeah, so, it depends. My wife said to me, "You may hope you never manage this team getting into Steel and Sons final." I said, "Okay, fair enough."
Yeah.
Davy, I want to thank you for giving up your time to do this for me. I really appreciate it.
No problem at all.
Because I know leading up to the games are going to be busy, and there's going to be a lot of preparation goes into it.
Yeah.
And as I said earlier, you're a busy man anyway when it comes to football. But I wish you best of luck, and fingers crossed you could have another Christmas Day final to look forward to.
Thank you very much, guy. Thank you. Great job. I'll speak to you soon.
You're
absolutely welcome.
Bye-bye.
Take care, mate. Bye.
I'm here with Ryan Wilson, who is first team coach at Lisburn Distillery. Ryan, first of all, thanks very much for coming on, mate. I really appreciate it.
No, pleasure. Thanks very much for having us on. And I know you're doing a bit of an insight with the 4 teams just running up to the games this week. So, no, it's a pleasure to be part of it.
It's obviously a big competition. It's a really prestigious competition, Steel and Sons. I take it yourself and Johnny Clapham, who is manager also at you at Distillery, I take it you're both looking forward to the game and the players are buzzing for it as well.
Oh, yeah, totally. The Steel and Sons, as you mentioned, is the most prestigious cup in terms of this level of football. The fact that we have an opportunity to play in a semi-final, we're excited. We had a good performance over the weekend, which will lead us well into the game on Wednesday night. So, yeah, our players are very excited. The fans of Distillery Football Club haven't had a lot to shout about the last number of years, to be fair to them, and they're a very loyal bunch. They actually recently celebrated their 140th anniversary as a football club. With dinner there previously on Saturday night. So, yeah, there's a lot of talk about the game, and there's a lot of excitement, and we're looking forward to it.
it's something as well. It's almost as a club for Lisburn Distillery, it's almost new territory because they're always historically one of the bigger clubs. Now that they've had to drop down a level, and it's a rebuilding process for the players, yourselves, and the club as a whole. It's now the Steel and Sons becomes a name, and I seen a long time ago Distillery Seconds won the competition twice, but it would be the first time that Distillery's first team have an opportunity to win in Steel and Sons. So with the 140th year anniversary, then I take it there's a lot to play for there as well.
Certainly, I think you've been reading the same Wikipedia page that I read. Yeah, it was 1900 was the last time Distillery Seconds. It was just the Distillery Seconds at that time were called one the Steel and Sons, and that's the only time in the club history that that's happened. Yeah. So, but yes, as us, with the 140-year anniversary aside, we're just concentrating on the game of football. We prepare for it in the same manner we prepare for all our games. So we do that in a consistent way. But yeah, the boys are excited to be there. The club are excited to be part of it. I know it'll be a big test for us going against the Linfield team, who have, I think have won this maybe competition 10 or 11 times. And they've been in 3 of the last 4 finals. So we're very much going into it with the excitement of seeing what we can do and seeing what we can bring to the game.
It's something as well where it can be on the night that the experience brings you through. Is your squad a good mix of experience in youth, or is it more a younger side? Is there many boys that have the experience of these big games?
Yeah, no, we have a good mix. We have some players who have played in finals before. But we also have players who this is completely new territory for. Yeah. So we're excited. We're excited by the opportunity to be there. And he said there about a semi-final. I think once we played 5 games in this competition, so this will be our 5th game. So we're to get to this point, we would have taken at the very start. If someone said you get an opportunity to be a semi-final of the Steel and Sons, we would have bitten your arm off for it. So the boys have worked hard to reach it. We've had 4 very different games on the road up to the final, and to have an opportunity to play against Linfield 20s, Linfield Seconds, Linfield, so whatever you want to call them these days, it's a great opportunity for us to see where we are as a club and where our players are. I think we're delighted to be there, and just the fact that you say it's just the 90 minutes or whatever it is might be in the night will determine then where we go. But yeah, we have a good mix of players in terms of youth and experienced players. So hopefully that stands us in good stead.
Yeah, and of course the other semi-finalists are in the same league as you, so you'd know a lot more about them. Whereas Linfield Swifts are completely different league; it's sort of completely different animal. Do you know much about Linfield, or have you seen them play much? Or
I know that they've been in our last 3 or 4 games. They've certainly been doing their homework on us. They'll be know what to expect on what we'll bring to the table. But yes, we've been to a few of their games to watch. The difficulty, I suppose, with the type of team they are is that it can change from week to week. One week they could have a number of senior players available or older players, and then the next week it could be filled up of kids 14, 15, 16 years of age. So
yeah.
But at the end of the day, we know they're going to be a youthful team. They're going to be predominantly players who want to aspire to play at the highest level, either in an Irish league, or in across the water. And if you look at their teams going past in the finals before, player went to Leeds, another young lad there made his debut for Northern Ireland there on Friday night, and he played and scored in the last final. Yeah, Taylor, young Jake Corbett's been around the first team a bit. So these are players who might be 16, 17, 18 years of age, but they're the best at that age, and they're all, if not already exposed to senior football, they will be in a very short period of time. So they'll have a real calibre about them, they'll have a real quality about them, but we'll be ready to go. Whilst they have been in the final numerous times the last couple of years, and they've won a number of times, we'll be ready for it, and we'll have our game plans to how we want to go about doing things. And as I say, it's down to how our players perform tonight, because they certainly have the capability to win this match. So listen, we're looking forward to it.
Do you think when it comes to semi-final or a final, it's usually those big occasions, what happens is it can sometimes not be the team that performs best on the night, but just the team which kind of has that nous to get through it. Do you think it's a combination of both, or are you going to be focusing on one or the other?
No, I think you hit the nail on the head. Semi-finals and often finals can't be the most exciting of games, but it just can take that one individual bit of quality, or one move, or one particularly good finish that can really set 2 teams apart. So again, not to sound like a broken record, but we'll treat this and we'll prepare for it as we do for every game, as we prepare for our game against the PS now at the weekend. our previous games in the cup, you know, through a number of amateur league teams, and whether I played Ballymena 20s earlier on in the earlier stages. So we'll prepare for the game Wednesday in the same manner, in the same way that we went about every game so far.
Yeah, and looking at your previous results in the competition, first round just beat Cumber 1-0, and then just had Glebe 2-1, two tight games, and then Ballymena reserves. And in the last round, you had to go to penalties to beat Abbey Villa. So you've had a tough run until this point. You've had a lot of tight games there.
Totally agree. You know, and from the outset, the Cumber was a very difficult game. They made it play very difficult for us, and we scored a very fortunate goal to get through. You know, so from day one in the Stephen Sons, it's been all difficult games. Tight enough game against Glebe Rangers, as I said, only beat them 2-1. Probably the most comfortable, to put it that way, would be in the Ballymena game. I thought we dominated most of that game, and we played well, and to come out 2-0 was great. You know, and then obviously Abbey Villa 2-0 each, but we went on to win on penalties. So in the competition so far, we've only conceded one goal, which is something fairly significant. And that's what helps in cup matches, you can concede goals. So it was interesting, obviously, because the last game was against Davy Dorrian. I know you buzzed John Busby on the last podcast, giving his opinions about how they're doing, and you know, the work that's come down in Davy Dorrian has been fantastic. Yeah. So it was nice to know Buzz personally, and pretty much all his backroom staff and a number of players. It was nice to get that one over just and get through. You know, so they gave us a very, very hard game, very hard game, very closely contested, similar amount of shots, similar amount of corners. I just think, you know, our young goalkeeper Joe Nicholl done very well in that game, and saved a couple of penalties, and that was really the difference. You know, so you're right. It's been a difficult run to get here, but you know, we've come through the 4 games so far, and say we're looking forward to Wednesday.
Yeah, the thing is with cup football as well, sometimes you do have to go extra time, penalties, and if that opportunity arises in the semi-final, then do you think that experience your boys had in the last round is stands in good stead as well, where they know they're capable of doing it?
Yeah. I think these days players in any cup competition are having awareness that the game might go that way. I don't know if it gives us any kind of advantage, the fact we took some penalties against Abbey Villa a few weeks back. I don't think it does, if I'm perfectly honest. But listen, the fact that it happened in the round before, if it happens again, we'll know what to expect, and the game will be ready for it.
Yeah. In terms of your general form this season, the cups have obviously been a real plus for you, because your league form hasn't been, I'm sure, what you wanted to be. But do you think with the progress in the cups and the confidence the players are building, that will start to turn your league form around a wee bit also?
Yeah, I suppose there's two ways of looking at that. It's good to have progress in the cups in our league, as you mentioned, because you can quite quickly go 3 or 4 weeks without a game or one game because you're not involved in the cups. So the fact that we came through a couple of rounds in the Irish Cup and now a couple of rounds in Stephen Sons, we're still intermediate cup, which we play on Saturday. You know, the fact that we've had these games to continue, and our fixture list has been a positive for us. What I would say in relation to how that impacts the league, we've actually played the least amount of games in our league. We've only played our 5th game there on Saturday. So our league position, we want to get points on the board, but we knew that we'll at some stage, in fact, between now and the end of the year, we have 4 league games coming up. So we know there's an opportunity to put points on the board. Needless to say, it was great getting the result at the weekend. You know, again, the Linfield team were down watching our performance against the PSNI. You know, so we came around with a 3-0 victory, clean sheet, and moved off the bottom of the table. And now we've got opportunities going forward with these 4 league games coming up, to put more points on the board. But we'll get. Say it's a pretty significant week this week with the Stephen Sons on Wednesday, and then into the Intermediate Cup on Saturday. So we'll concentrate on the league then, I suppose, the week after in training, and go again.
Yeah, it's almost non-stop. 5 league games just by a stage of season, but then there's that many cup competitions as well to play in. And like you said, if you're not playing the cup, you might not have a league game if other teams are progressing. So it's a good thing to have cup progress also.
No, I totally agree. You know, it gives you that consistency of playing week in, week out, where if you went out of some of these competitions in the earlier stages, you would have went maybe 2 or 3 weeks with only one game, you know, which is difficult to keep going. So yeah, it certainly helped us in the intermediate.
And then of course then the semi-final leads to the final Christmas morning, which is such a massive occasion in modern amateur football over here and intermediate football. And is it something that at the start of the season yourself and Johnny would have looked at as a real aim, or was it something that you've never really thought of until you started progressing in the cup?
Well, we haven't thought anything about Christmas Day, and we still won't until later
Yeah.
on Wednesday or Thursday morning, if that's the case. It sounds very cliche, but we're just taking every game as it comes. We did sit down and target success in cups. We knew that we wanted to win games in the cup matches for the reason that we wanted to continue our season and that consistency we mentioned. We didn't sit down at any point and go here, right, objective number one this year is to win the league and win the Stephen Suns. You know, that was never. But we did have set goals from the start of the season, say, in terms of where we wanted to finish in the league, and we wanted to be successful and have progress in two of the cups. So the fact we've got the semi-final stage, you know, that's good as well. You know, and to have a fifth game in that competition so far, it's been excellent. And we'd love a sixth game, but there's been honestly no thought or talk or discussion about anything else bar Wednesday night. And to be honest, the conversations about Wednesday night have only really started post the game on Saturday. You know, you said it's been relentless, and it continues to be. So that's why we do it. That's why we enjoy it, and that's why we're involved.
Well, Ryan, thanks very much for giving up your time. I know I'm sure you're busy leading up to the game, and like you said, if schools are coming thick and fast at the moment. So I really appreciate you giving up your time, and best of luck on Wednesday night. And fingers crossed, you could be looking forward to a final in Christmas morning as well. Then over the next couple of months.
No, great. Listen, thanks very much for having us on to have a quick chat. So yeah, no, it's great. Thank you.
Best of luck. Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah.